Yo,
Hello.
what's up, world? This is the Social Truth on OSM TV. We're running a little bit behind today. We apologize for that. Forgive us. The heat index
It's
here
like 130,000 degrees
is
today.
about 130,000 degrees, so it got to our heads a little bit. Plus, everyone else is out of the office. We're sitting here working hard. Our apologies, but we're here now. It's 3:23 p.m. as we promised about 10 minutes ago. So we're here, we're live. We're going to talk about Google Plus, the newest shockwave to hit the social media world. Universe, yeah, really. And so Google, obviously, search giant, internet wizards, they just rolled this out just a few weeks ago. It's still in beta, which means limited invitations, but there are still right around 20 million people already active on the network, which is incredible.
It's a pretty big focus group.
Yeah, it's nuts. And the rumors are that it'll be out of beta phase, meaning anyone from the public can join right around July 31st. So about the end of this month, anyone will get there. But I do know at this time that most people kind of have an unlimited amount of invitations. So if you would like one, feel free to drop your Gmail address to myself, twitter.com/Jeremy Anderberg, Jeremy Anderberg. I'm sure Mr. Mike Ball could figure it out.
You can do it. It's twitter.com/creative-I-think.
Yep, so if you're looking for an invite, one of us would probably be able to hook you up, if not someone else in our consortium here at One Social Media. So yeah, we're just going to talk a little bit today about kind of the new features, how it works. Will a new social network really be able to compete with Facebook and Twitter and all those other social giants that are already out there? Our short answer is yes. We do think it'll be able to compete. Partially because Facebook kind of has this giant base of 700 million people that they have this head start on. But with Google, you have so many users already on Gmail, already on Google Documents, on Google Calendar, even just with Google Places, things like that. All these people already have their information into Google's world, and so for them to kind of convert over to this new social network with Google just is not all that difficult. You're not necessarily having to fill in all this information like you had to when you first started with Facebook or anything like that.
Yeah.
Google will just pull your information from all those other places that you're on there. So
and if you don't want to, you don't have to put that much information out there, which is also nice. That's kind of the Facebook versus Twitter thing, where Twitter you don't have very much of your personal information, just what you post. Facebook you have a lot of it, and people can't really find the line. Google Plus does a good job because it gives you a lot of freedom to let you choose how much information you want to put out there.
Yep. Yeah, and one of the things that's already being touted about Google Plus is that it has more intuitive privacy features, and that's huge in today's world. Obviously, Facebook has gotten into a lot of trouble from the general public just about kind of how they impede on people's privacy without asking. The defaults are set to be not very private, which really gets on people's nerves, obviously. And with Facebook, you have to kind of dig around in the settings and go and click through a bunch of different options to get your privacy settings to how you want. With Google Plus, it's quite a bit more intuitive. Unfortunately, it'd be nice if we could just kind of give you a bunch of screenshots, but that kind of messes things up on our end. So we won't do that today, maybe another time. But if you're able to play around with it, you'll notice that the privacy is just way more easy to figure out, which will become more and more important as the internet, the internet universe continues to grow. Yep. And so, Mike is going to talk a little bit about kind of some of the new features that Google Plus brings and how it can differentiate itself from Facebook and Twitter and all those others.
So the biggest thing I think to start with is the circles feature that it has. So just like on Twitter, you can follow people, people can follow you, and things like that. The best thing about this is you can sort those people into different groups right from the start, which, if you go back through your Facebook friends from the last 5 years, you run into people that you say, I don't really know who that is, or I don't really want them to know that much about me. And on Google Plus, you can put them into those groups right away. And then you can actually choose what you're sharing to either go public or to go to different circles or different people.
Yep.
So I know we've got family set up, we've got work people set up, we've got friends, and then I've got my following group is just a general mass of people that, if it's something general that's interesting, I'll share it to them. If it's something related to work, I'll share it with these guys.
Yep.
And it's really easy to do that. Just click of a button. Yeah,
it's very cool. At my first glance, it kind of combines features of Facebook and Twitter. So you have, the news feed right down the middle, like you do with Facebook. So that kind of, at first it's like, oh, this is just kind of a Facebook ripoff. But then you get deeper into it and realize that, I can go ahead and follow Mike like I would on Twitter, but he doesn't have to follow me back. Right? And so in that regard, it's kind of like Twitter, but it's also, the interface is much more like Facebook than just a constant Twitter stream. And so what's nice is that, if I want to share things with my work circle, I can do that, and no one else will see it except the people who I have, deemed it okay to share with. And it's also very, very easy to organize people into your circles, whereas with Facebook, I don't even know if they do anymore. They used to have a lists feature, but it was kind of difficult to do it. You had to go through all your friends and kind of manually look. With Google Plus, though, when you accept someone, when you start to follow someone, kind of, the first thing you do is put them into a circle based on those categories that Mike talked about. And so again, it's a little bit more intuitive and a little bit more user-friendly than Facebook generally is.
It's a better mix, I think, between the timeline stream on Twitter and the newsfeed on Facebook. Because newsfeed on Facebook, you can see something that was from a few days ago if one of your friends just interacted with it. While on Twitter, you might miss something that you really think is cool if you just looked away for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So this does a good job about posting content that's talked about, new content, things like that. Everything kind of pops up in there. You can scroll down. You can see what everybody else is talking about, and you can search. And that's the next feature I kind of wanted to jump into was the Sparks, which is kind of in its development phase, just like Google Plus is right now, but I think it has a lot of potential for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sparks is kind of, you don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of just this hub of, it's like a news feed, but for interest categories. So I think there were categories for cooking, movies, and so you can
for Android.
Yep, oh, that's right. So you can kind of go to the Sparks feature and see, this news feed, but just related to that category, which is kind of cool. And as Google Plus grows, I'm sure there will be more Sparks out there. I'm sure they might even, roll out the ability for users to create Spark groups and things like that. So that's kind of what seems to be Google Plus's groups feature. And so, a couple of the other cool things that are built right into it is, one, you have a built-in group video chat, which is obviously kind of, competing with Facebook. They just rolled out their video chat powered by Skype, but it doesn't have group video function, whereas Google's, it's built right in.
And it's free.
And it's free, which is huge, and it's kind of something that wasn't highly publicized, but makes a huge difference. And another kind of similar feature is they have group chat built right in, but I think that's only built into the mobile version. Not quite sure. We haven't had the chance to fully quite explore Google Plus yet, but I think that's how that works. And what's really great about Google Plus, as we said, they already have the base with Gmail, with Docs, with Google Calendar, is that all of that can be integrated right into it. So you can be in Google Plus and have your GChat windows up, which is pretty handy. And they haven't rolled it out yet, but we're sure the day is coming where they integrate documents, so you can be collaboratively, working on documents with your work circle, or you can be working on things with your family circle instead of kind of having to do it in Google Docs or whatever the case may be, which is very cool.
I actually saw an article that professors are already starting to use those video chat hangouts, those video conferencing for their office hours, so that people can actually all get together and talk, hear other ideas and things like that, instead of sitting in a hot office that nobody wants to show up to. People can just get on their computer and talk with professors. That'll work for teachers, that'll work for consultants, that'll work for anybody.
Yeah, and the education world has really kind of been one of the first industries to hop on this full steam ahead. So, schools will be starting up in another month and a half or so, and one of the things that, we've seen a couple articles about teachers doing is creating circles for their classes. And so each class they have, or if it's, just one class, maybe if it's elementary or something like that, they could just have a circle and be able to share homework assignments or share things like that online. Obviously cuts down the need for paper. It's easy to attach things, whereas with Facebook it's not quite as intuitive, not quite as easy to create these lists and groups. And so it really just allows, I think, allows for people who are maybe not tech savvy to just jump right in and be able to get a feel for it, just like you would be able to with Gmail, again, Docs, Calendar. Google is very well known for having great user interface, which means it looks pretty kind of to begin with, but then it's also just incredibly simple to use, which, on first glance, Facebook, with kind of how complicated it's gotten with applications, with groups, with pages, it's not necessarily as intuitive for people who aren't, necessarily web savvy. So, another thing that is going to be great for it is its SEO value. So search engine optimization. One of the biggest things that our clients want from us is to be able to show up on the first page of Google results for any number of, given search terms. And so obviously, because this is a Google product, there will be value in that. Google has kind of been quiet as to what that really looks like, but we are obviously sure that it will have some impact, including this +1 button that kind of has come with Google+. Mike, you want to talk about that a little bit?
That's a nice feature too. Just like when you're browsing on the web, you're able to retweet something, or you're able to like it or comment on it from Facebook on that web page. You're now able, or you have been able to for a month or so, to push the +1 button. Now, the cool feature about Google Plus is that you actually have an archive of the pages and things that you've +1 while you're browsing the web, and the other people can actually go in there and see what your favorite places to visit are. Mm-hmm. So, that's a great place to say, okay, well, who's this guy that wants to follow me, or who's this guy that's talking about this business? What does he read? What does he look at? You might find articles from Forbes or Fast Company or DC Comics or anything like that.
Yep.
So that's a nice feature, and I think that +1 is definitely going to factor in, because people have been talking a lot about how social media has been affecting search engine results.
Yep.
And being as Google invented their own +1, that's going to factor into popularity, most relevant searches, things like that. So a page with 100 +1s might show up better than a page with 20, even though it might be a more popular site. We don't really know yet. We're speculating a little bit, but Google set all these things up, and I'm sure it'll factor into everything that they do, like they always do.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I did is once I set up my Google Plus profile, added in all my info, added in my links to all my other social media sites, I just Googled my name to see if it would impact anything. And right away I noticed that my Google Plus profile is the first thing that shows up now when you do a Google search for my name, or I'm sure for your name if you've set it up. It'd be a good thing to kind of test and play around with. And so you really want to make sure that you have that Google profile, I would say almost even more filled out than Facebook or Twitter. You want to make sure, especially if you are a business owner or anything like that, that you have links to your company, that you have links to your blog, your Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can even link to articles you've written, things like that. And it's really easy to do. It's all built in, super easy to see. It also has this feature of places where you've lived that people can see on a map. That's kind of a neat, simple feature that I think people are just kind of interested in. And so you really want to make sure you have that filled out, because when people Google your name, that's probably the first thing now that's going to show up. And so, again, more than anything, you want to make sure that that is accurate, up to date, and exactly how you want the public to see it. So yeah, I think we're about set for today. Did you have anything else to talk about with Google Plus?
No, we're going to keep diving into it and keeping an eye out as the new pages come out. And we know this fall the branded pages are going to come out. Yep. Just like Facebook changed from personal profiles to having companies use pages, Google's releasing the same thing this fall. So there's a few brands trying to be on there right now that are just trying to get into the rush or the action, the buzz that is already happening on Google Plus. But come this fall, everybody's going to have to set up probably their own branded page, and we'll keep an eye out for those features as well, and we'll keep an ear out to see what people are talking about, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, one of the things too, just to say real quick, is that there are quite a few companies who have kind of wanted to jump on and just create individual profiles, but Google is rumored at least to kind of be jumping off of that part of it and actually kind of kicking people off who are trying to do that as companies. So we would recommend that you hold off until the official business, they're going to be called entity pages, roll out. And so just kind of hold on. We'll do our due diligence over here on our end to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into with Google+. Even tomorrow we have a little company brainstorming session on how to use this for clients and even individually. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll be sure to do some blog posts, and I'm sure we'll mention it as well in follow-up videos. So we will be back next week with The Social Truth. It will be at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We promise, heat wave or not, it will be at 3 p.m. So we thank you for your patience this afternoon, and hopefully you learned a little something about Google+. And if you have any questions, feel free to find us on Facebook, facebook.com/onesocialmedia, or Twitter, twitter.com/onesocialmedia.
Also, if you have been on Google Plus and you have a few more ideas that you'd like to share, go ahead and put them up on our Facebook and our Twitter feed, and we'll make sure we toss them in the show next week as well.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks everybody.
Have a good week, everyone.